Hi, Greg Griffiths here from Ivanhoe Cycles. This is the 2018 Giant TCX SLR2. TCX, part of that name, indicates that it's essentially a cyclocross bike. So cyclocross racing is a sport that's quite big in places like Germany, Belgium, Holland, where road cyclists and mountain bikers as well race on bikes that look like this in the winter time. So running across fields, running as well as riding their bike, carrying them on some occasions. So it's a bike that's made for off-road racing. Cyclocross racing in Australia has just taken off in the last 4 or 5 years, and there's now even a national championship for cyclocross. So it's a sport that's developing and is increasing in number in Australia. But having said that, cyclocross bikes are so versatile that many people use them just as an alternative to a hybrid, for instance. A road rider who's used to having the racer style handlebars feels more at home on this type of bike, and yet with the tyres and brakes and things that the bike has, it still can be ridden most places that a hybrid can be, or even a mountain bike. So it's a very versatile sort of bike, but initially designed and made for cyclocross racing. A bike of this level is certainly good enough to race on if you wanted to do so. It has a lightweight aluminium frame. It has the now regulation carbon fibre front fork. Because it has disc brakes, this bike also has what's called a through axle, so it's quite a lightweight and stiff front end in the bike, so it's good for handling, cornering, and just overall strength. Also has a through axle in the rear, so in both cases, to remove the wheels, you just undo the axle, slide it out, and the wheel drops out. So wheel removal is quite easy. Both front and rear with disc brakes means that there's massive clearance around the tyres. So if you are riding it off-road and it's muddy and mud collects on the tyres, it's unlikely that it will jam. Whereas if you had a conventional brake or with less clearance above the tyre, there could be a blockage and the wheel would get jammed. So it's a really well-designed bike, big clearance around the tyres in all cases, and the tyres themselves are quite large. So it's a Schwalbe Super Swan, so it's quite a knobby tyre. They're really made for off-road riding. However, the rims are the conventional 700C rims, so if you wanted a bike that's as robust as this, but perhaps weren't going to ride off-road all the time, you could put a more conventional treaded tyre on if you wished, or have 2 sets of tyres. One for the Sunday cyclocross race once a month, and the other tyres for the regular use through the week. So that could be an option too, as another set of tyres. This bike, as I mentioned, has an aluminium frame. As with most Giants, it has the D-Fuse seat tube and seat post, so a bit of shock absorption comfort there. It has a Shimano 105 group set, so the regulation 105 11-speed gear shifters in the STI style. Dual chainring STI 105 front derailleur, 105 rear derailleur, and the regulation cassette. So it's not that far removed from a road bike, but in the essential elements of it, it's very, very much different and more like a mountain bike or a hybrid. So big tyres, big clearance, designed for off-road racing. So this bike has disc brakes, but they're operated by a mechanical lever. So it's the regulation 105 brake lever, has a cable that runs into this mechanism where it converts the mechanical pull to hydraulic, and then therefore it's a hydraulic actuation of the brake. So you get all the advantages of a hydraulic brake in strength, lever pull, wheel removal, wheel buckling, all the normal advantages of a disc brake, but without the additional cost of a hydraulic brake lever. So it's a good system designed by Giant. So if you see this mechanism on the handlebar, that's what that is. It's a converter from mechanical to hydraulic. Works really well. While I'm at this part of the bike, the through axle front wheel, and it's the same for the rear wheel removal. It's just a matter of undoing the lever or undoing the axle, undo it completely, and the wheel comes out. That's the simplest thing known. So if you want to service the bike, clean it, change disc pads, put it in the back of your car, whatever the reason is that you need the wheel out, that's very, very easy to put it back in. Just guide the disc between the pads, slide the axle back in, and do it back up. So it's as quick and as easy as that to remove the wheel. The back is similar, except that you need to accommodate for the chain. So we always, whenever removing a back wheel, you always change the gears until the change on the smallest sprocket, just to make the life easier for yourself. Once again, undo the lever on the back, slide the axle out, and the wheel comes out. So it's very simple, very easy. Takes a couple of seconds. Putting it back in is just the reverse. Place the chain over the small sprocket, guide the wheel up between the forks and the brake pad, slide the axle back in and do it back up. So wheels in and out in a matter of seconds, very easy. If the bike's caked in mud and grease, obviously you get some hands dirty, but not in this case. So a very clean operation. An off-road racing bike, all the usual features of internal cabling and stuff like that, so that it's very clean and neat to look at, but also maintenance is kept to a minimum because of the internal cable routing. Has seal bearing in the bottom bracket, seal bearing headsets, seal bearing in the hubs and the wheels. So the general maintenance, cleanliness and some lube is the most important things to worry about. Comes in a range of sizes. This is a large bike. They come from extra small through to extra large. So there's a bike essentially similar but in various dimensions for riders of different heights. So if you wanted to race at cyclocross or just want to have a bike that's a racer style that you can ride off-road, this is what they're made for. And as I mentioned, if you did want to use it as a bit of a combination, a second set of tyres and would suit all situations. So if you're interested in something like that, or you've heard of Cyclocross or CX, don't really know what it is, drop in, have a look at the bike, maybe take one for a ride, see what you think.